Morning, y'all. Hope you're all great and in good spirits. That's my pond right there. This right here used to be a patio set that the cement went bad, so I made it into like a little viewing platform, some hills. Look, there's my plant flowering. And there's a agave right there growing. So I'm making this video outside because it kind of relates to the theme. The thumbnail says, "The old guy scared me." In Mexico, there's a saying, "Sabe más el diablo por viejo que por diablo." Translated, it means the devil knows more because of his age than because he's a devil. And so the quote is a testament to experience imparting a wisdom on us, right? So last week, I mentioned there was yard sales across the community, and so I thought, well, let me go say hi to all the neighbors that are having them and the ones that I don't know. I'll introduce myself to. And I saw this old couple that live on the street, and like I've waved to them, but I didn't remember talking to them. And so I go over there, and I go to introduce myself, and they're like, "Hey," and they call me by my name. "How you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, they know my name." And he says, "I thought you were mad at us because you used to always give us oranges from your tree, and we didn't see you for 2 years." And I thought, oh, that's because, I have this moat around the orange tree. That's the orange tree right there. And then a hill next to it, and that helps with like water retention. The water doesn't just run off; it goes into the moats, and then the hills take it up, and then that feeds the plants at the top. And then there's good drainage, so like I could grow anything, like based on the soil. And then the drought's a different issue, but the soil's like phenomenal. I've never thrown any garden scraps, anything away. It all gets buried in the hills. When I trim all the trees, I put it back into the soil. A scientist would call it carbon capture and sequestration, or just carbon sequestration. Anyways, when I I ask, "Have you been?" and we start talking, and I mentioned that some of the plants he has there are nice, and he says, "You know what? I don't know how much longer they're gonna last." And I go, "Why?" And he's like, "There's no more bees. We killed them all." And I thought, you know what? I never heard the buzz this year. I've probably seen 5 bees, honeybees. I've seen a couple carpenter bees, but honeybees, I don't think I've seen 5 all year. And then he says, "Remember when it would rain, all the worms would come out into the sidewalk? There's no more worms." And I thought, you know what? I haven't seen any worms. And he says, "When I moved here 50 years ago, every spring the streets would be littered with little frogs because we got a creek near us. And there's no more frogs." And I would say maybe 15 years ago, that pond, my other ponds, because I got several ponds throughout, they always had a resident toad or frog. I don't know which one it was. One time I was sitting out here and I see this dragonfly doing a little loop, and it's laying its eggs because baby dragonflies are like these scorpion looking things that live underwater, and then they'll metamorph into a dragonfly, come out of the water, and then their life is outside of the water, like a pollywog. It lives underwater and then turns into a frog and lives out of the water. So it was laying its eggs, and then 2 hummingbirds showed up, and they tried to jump the dragonfly because hummingbirds are hella territorial. I used to always have hummingbird fights back here, and like they would just set trip off each other. And so they're trying to fight with the dragonfly, who was kind of fighting back. And then while all this is happening, I see 2 little eyeballs pop out of the water, and it's the frog or the toad. It's a frog, I'm guessing. And so it starts creeping on him. I think the dragonfly kind of like left, and then the hummingbirds left, and then the dragonfly came back and started laying its eggs again. And the frog was like creeping on it. You saw its eyes; it looked like a little alligator. And I'm just sitting back here like tripping out off the nature, right? And so when the dragonfly came down, the frog jumped out of the water and tried to get it, and he missed. So the dragonfly flew away, and then it came back after like 5 minutes, and the process repeated itself like 2 more times. The frog never caught it. And I haven't had a frog like in 5 years. And so, not that this old man is the devil, but he was like 85 years old with a sharp mind still. And all that experience has taught him that there's something wrong. He said we killed them all. And I haven't seen any bees. I guess we'll know in January when the oranges are supposed to be ripe, because if there's no bees to pollinate them, there's not going to be any oranges. And that probably goes for everything else we eat. So this is all anecdotal, just, what he's observed, our conversations, and what I've observed. But there is scientific literature out there to the effect of, bee colony collapses because of, pesticides, fungicides, insecticides we use. And I think that's something that people should care about more. Because, I don't know, it can go pretty bad without, the species that we depend on to provide a balance. So that said, much love. I'm sorry, this is kind of a downer. The old guy scared me. Oh, he scared me for another reason too. I'm like, damn, I'm like half his age almost. Well, a little bit more than half his age. And he got a better memory than me. So he scared me because of that too. And so I'm glad I'll hopefully get accepted to school and start sharpening my mind again. Have a good one.